Information is free.
The law will put...
There is openness.
The Johnny Rocket Launchpad. And now, here's Johnny.
Hey, it's Johnny Rocket here at the Johnny Rocket Launchpad, always launching ideas in your direction. The Northwest's only rock and roll libertarian radio show. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Kurt Nelson.
Yes, sir.
My voice of reason, the beautiful Heather Nixon.
Hello.
And we're always launching ideas in your direction. And you can check out the Johnny Rocket Launchpad at LibertyRadioNetwork.com, Random Times, Radio KSCR, Tuesdays, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Northwest Convergence Zone Radio, Friday, 4 to 6 p.m., Saturdays, 8 to 10 p.m. LibertyTalk.fm, Saturdays, Sundays, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Liberty Movement Radio, Friday, Monday, and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. CMG Global Radio, Thursdays, 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. InfoSub, Friday, Saturday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can check us out at Podbean, jrlp.podbean.com, Twitter at JRLaunch, and Facebook /JRLaunchpad. And JohnnyRocketLaunchpad.com.
Bam. Bam. Well done. Thank you.
2 breaths on that one.
Thank
but
you. That was 3. No, it was 3. I was counting.
Damn.
I think you can get it down to 2, though.
Maybe next time, man. That was tough, man. That takes. There's so and as the list grows, it just gets more.
Yeah.
You know what? I forgot one. Rob Revere Radio Network, and that's
don't forget one, man.
Saturdays, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Anyways, episode 52. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man.
Heather?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking.
Good.
I had a birthday this week, so
yeah. How old are you now? 54?
Yep, at least. I stopped counting.
Happy birthday, Kurt!
Thank you.
How old are you, seriously?
I'm 42.
You don't look a day over 42.
Thanks, buddy.
He's still not as old as me.
You look good, though. You look good, man. I honestly thought you're like maybe 39.
You're just straight lying now,
I'm
but
lying.
that's cool.
But
that's
you look
cool.
40. I'd say you're 40.
All right, thank you.
40-something.
Well, especially like now with my gray hair sticking all out sideways and all that kind of stuff.
You can get rid of that shit with hair dye.
Yeah,
know,
Grecian formula.
Grecian formula, hair dye, and you'll be golden like a shower.
I like the gray.
Yeah, she does.
Thank you.
I think gray hair's sexy, and many other women do.
Yeah, it's a new thing now.
All right.
It's the gray hair
I'm just
thing.
going to have to convince my wife of that now.
Does she not like the gray hair?
She wants me to bust out and color it, and I'm not really into that.
Whatever,
I'm trying to keep it natural, personally.
Do the all natural.
I'm doing the opposite to Johnny. I'm trying to keep him from dyeing his hair.
Let's move along. We have a very special guest. Give it up for Colin Gunn. Woo! Yeah!
Quite the intro, Johnny. I appreciate that.
Colin, it's an honor to have you on this show, man. And let me tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Award-winning writer, director, producer, and accomplished animator and libertarian. His films include Shaky Town, and it's a winner of the Best Political Film at the San Antonio Independent Christian Film Festival.
Wow.
The Monstrous Regiment of Women, which also won an award there. He wrote, produced, co-directed IndoctriNation and Captivated. Acted as an executive producer of Act Like a Man, a Titanic Lesson in Manliness.
Nice.
And your current project and political blockbuster is called Wait Till It's Free. And you also do a podcast called The Colin Gunn Show. Give it up for Colin Gunn. Wow.
No doubt.
What a great resume.
Busy
man.
guy, too, man.
You're all over the map.
Well, thank you, guys. I have to say this is such an honor to be on your show. I had the privilege of talking to Johnny off there and getting to know him a little bit. I listened to your show and just love it. It's so fun for me, and I'm probably not your usual demographic of maybe the people you have in your show, but nonetheless, I think we speak right to each other, and I got that from our conversation, Johnny, when we were talking yesterday. You were saying things, and I was responding, and it was just so fantastic. And I'm a different person than you, this crazy Scottish guy who lives in Texas and has 9 children. I mean, I'm a freak of nature. You think you're all, contrarian out there in Seattle with all your, whatever you guys get up to. But I'm probably a freak of nature to most of your listeners. But I bet a lot of your listeners would love what we're doing with our movies. We're doing some fun things. We're independent. All the movies we make, it's all self-funded, crowdsourced. There's no big studio behind us. We just make these movies, and we make the movie we want to make. And I'm so glad and delighted that our movie responds to you and to your audience. And Wait Till It's Free, our newest film, it's really made for people like yourself that definitely want to know the truth. And I think we've delivered on this film, Wait Till It's Free.
I think it's great. I thought the movie was fantastic. Colin, you live in Waco, Texas, and you're originally from Scotland.
That's right. Have you heard of Waco? It's had a little bit of history.
Yeah.
Maybe
That was
some
before-
mumblings.
That was before I got there, and the ATF made it a hole in the ground. If you ever come to Texas, Johnny and Kurt, Heather, I'll show you the big hole in the ground that used to be the Branch Davidian compound. But I'm from Scotland, and I met my wife in New York, and we got engaged and then married back in '99, and ended up over here. And I'm happy to say I'm now an American citizen, so I'm now part of the system.
Awesome.
It's a privilege to be here. I love America.
No doubt, man.
There's a little bit of pride in that, isn't it?
Well, I felt I was already an American. I was reading for years the writings of American libertarians over in Scotland. And I was talking about gun rights, on the playground in my Scottish school. I'm
Nice.
just tagged as that crazy guy. But I was American. I really was, and held to the principles, and I ended up over here. It's almost providential, inevitable that I would end up over here and making these films. I think I have an advantage in that I'm an outsider. I'm an immigrant. I come from another country, so I'm able to look at America in a slightly different way. But I'm also an insider. Also, I think I know how America works pretty well too.
Right.
So that's where our films come from. And you'll notice that in our films that we often go back to the UK for a comparison. So for this healthcare film, we go back and we talk about the National Health Service, socialized medicine over in the UK, and compare it to what we have here in America.
Right.
Colin, what's it like in Scotland when, you're talking about gun rights and that kind of thing? Is that just outlandish? Do people freak out on you for talking about things like that?
People are outraged. My own mother, of all people,
Oh, no.
cannot stand the fact that I not only own guns, but on a daily basis carry a firearm.
It's just like, what are you doing?
They just freak out. And then, when I came to Texas, I was the same. I'd never seen a gun. I never held a gun, never fired a gun. But I married a Texan, so they took me out to the farm and they opened the back of their pickup truck, and there was nothing but guns. And I got a swift intro to liberty and firepower, and I've never looked back. It's a wonderful thing. The Second Amendment, it's just such a good thing. And Scottish people have given up. They've given up their firearms. They're ingrained with socialist ideology.
Mm-hmm.
And, America, you think it's bad here. And I think, one of the problems we have as libertarians, we tend to lament, oh, it's so terrible. Well, I come over here and I'm like, this is great. You've got liberty here. It's not perfect, but there's good things happening here. And, that's one of the messages in our healthcare film is that it's Obamacare, yeah, it's a bad idea. And socialized medicine is a bad idea. But we've got a future in America, and capitalism works. And we have enough of a market to do good things in the healthcare sphere. And that's what we talk about in the film. So it's not, I want your listeners to know we've not got a big, boring bummer of a film that's going to make you depressed. We really wanted to make a film that had real solutions, and those solutions are essentially libertarian solutions. The government being eliminated from the whole healthcare market. Essentially, that's number one.
Right.
Personal responsibility, charity. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about reforming healthcare.
Right on.
Yeah, and as Johnny said, we watched the movie last night, and I thought it was fantastic and informative. Now that you're an American citizen, I wanted to get your perspective on something that happens up here in Seattle. The city of Seattle, as a matter of policy, restricted the city of Seattle employees from using the term citizen because they say it could be offensive to certain people. What is your thought on that?
I have no idea what they're trying to do there. I think that I used to live on the left coast and all the craziness in California. I think I'm happy to be a Texan now. You guys need to be long suffering with a remarkable amount of stupidity from the left in relation to all of the things that they want to control about our lives, including the terminology that we use. It is a remarkable program of brainwashing and control that we're finding in America. And this is a weird turn. It used to be people on the left, and this bugs me. People on the left used to be anti-government people very often. They hated crony-capitalism. They used to have a suspicion for the military and want to figure things out. The left now is just a cranky bunch of weirdos that the next thing they're on to, it's just bizarre and weird. It's a sad state of affairs. And, the conservative right has its problems, but, oh boy, when I was out in California, some of the crazy ideas. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. What they're trying to do here.
Right on. Hey, Colin, Heather and I, like I said, we watched Wait Until It's Free. Very lucky to get that private screening from you. Thank you very much for that. If you could sum up Wait Until It's Free documentary to our listeners, what is the synopsis of the film?
The film is a warning about socialized medicine, and we're talking about the consequences of how we pay for healthcare. Now, we do talk about Obamacare, but my argument about Obamacare is that it's just doubling down on all of the bad ideas that we already had about healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about American healthcare, we're not talking about a capitalistic system. We're talking about a system that in many ways is socialistic. In fact, more than 50% of it was already socialized with Medicare and Medicaid and the VA and all the other publicly funded healthcare insurance plans and all the rest of it. And on top of that, though, in a sense, we have a worse system than socialized medicine. You probably wonder what's worse than socialized medicine. And I would say, well, the only one thing worse than socialized medicine is a crony-capitalist system. Right. And that is where big entities profit massively from a controlled system. And it's closer to fascism than anything else. And that is the system we have. So it's a very serious subject. We try and make the film entertaining. We use the analogy of a diner. And the reason we do that is we want people to understand that healthcare is actually a fairly simple thing. The problem is we've complicated it with everything from the employer coverage through to the dominance of the third-party pay system, and then the complexity that government introduces through all of its regulations. Healthcare should actually be a very simple thing. All it really is buying medical services from a healthcare professional, usually a doctor. Doesn't need to be. And that's a fairly simple thing. It should be as easy as going in and buying a hamburger and buying a meal. So that's why we use that analogy, because everyone understands that.
Right. Yeah, totally.
There's a beauty to that. And that's an American idea. That one of the things I love about America, and I can tell from Johnny's fashion and his style that he probably likes Americana. I love the American diner. And the American diner to me is just spectacular, and we found this beautiful diner, and it speaks to me as capitalism, this free market, only exists in free market. Ultimately, it's about choice. It's about price competition. So the price of these hamburgers are set at good. All these things you don't get in healthcare.
Right? No, totally.
That's what we're missing.
Hey, Colin, how many children do you have?
I have 9 children. I know that'll freak
Whoa!
Your listeners.
Hey, can you do their names?
Grace, Noah, Knox, Molly, Mercy, Patience, Charity, Steadfast, and Theodore.
Yes! Nice. Awesome.
Awesome. Ask me their ages and all their social security numbers. That's when I don't have any idea. But
right on.
They're all beautiful kids, and then we believe. I'll tell you something. You guys, you want to have an impact in the future. Just think we have 9 kids or 9 kids of 9 kids each, and then all of those 9 kids of 9 kids. That's roughly 2 million people in 2 centuries that we're going to have that are going to be libertarians like me. So future lives in large families, So, and it's a joy for us, and it goes against. You guys are contrarians. That was one of the aspects of my change or my vision for my future, that the most common view of family life is controlling the number of kids that you have. I think that's a mistake. I know that's a crazy, weird thing for most people. Mm-hmm. I think having a large family used to be the way that we do it. And there was a reason for it. And we actually mention it in the film Wait Till It's Free, because we talk about elder care in the film. We talk about the crisis that the elderly are in, that they don't have the people. The baby boomers dropped the ball. They didn't have enough kids to pay for their entitlement. Right. And that is the problem we have right now. We're having all these kids now. We're not just doing it so that they look after us in their old age, but we're not going to complain when they do.
Right.
So the culture wants to. They've made this fatal mistake. It really is. There's 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day in America, and there's no young people there to pay off their Social Security or pay for their Medicare. Right. And so this is the big problem. I mean, isn't that crazy?
Right, it is. Well, how much would it cost you a year to insure your entire family?
Right. So when we looked for health insurance, we were just priced out the market. You're looking at somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000
Wow.
to get just, regular coverage. Now, the Obamacare exchange changed that. At the start of the film, you actually have me going in trying to buy insurance. She actually said to me, "That's gonna." As we have the have a lapel mic hidden, and she said, "Oh, that's going to be super expensive." As she's horrified about my circumstances. And of course, this is the problem, is that we've relied on the only way to buy medical services is through insurance.
Right.
Because healthcare, apparently, in people's minds, is it's so expensive. Our argument is that actually healthcare isn't actually that expensive. Medical services in the free market are relatively cheap. Health insurance is expensive. Certainly if you get in a car wreck or have a heart attack, then you would be looking at high bills regardless of how we do it. But when you look at the free market and you look at flat panel, flat screen televisions and cell phones and all these other things that have gone down in price. In healthcare, a good example is plastic surgery. Plastic surgery used to be rare and expensive, and now everyone's doing it. Gone down in price, right?
Right.
Because there was no insurance that covered it. Insurance is the problem. The third-party pay system was generally a bad idea. Insurance is a good idea for catastrophe,
Right.
Not a good idea for visiting a doctor. That's what makes doctors expensive.
Right.
Getting an MRI under insurance. I was talking to a doctor tonight. He can get an MRI for $500. If your insurance, if you go through, if you go and have insurance, there's $5,000, probably around there that the insurance company's paying for it. So it's a backward way of doing healthcare. And in America, we don't want socialized medicine because we don't like the idea of free, but we like the idea of it feeling free.
Right.
So the whole idea of, I want to go to the doctor, I feel like it, not worry about the price. But you're paying this massive amount every month.
Right. No, totally.
You've already worried about the price.
Right. No, and here's the thing, Colin, is this kind of reminds me of Babylon Sisters by Steely Dan. It says it's cheaper when it's not free. And you've quoted PJ O'Rourke. If you think the healthcare is expensive now, wait until it's free. And that's where you got the title for the movie. If you follow the money, the buyer has no power anymore in the healthcare system. Why is that?
Well, that's right. There's no purchasing power. There's also no cost discernment, no price discernment. So you're not a consumer. You're not going into the market and looking at different costs and then chasing medical services with your money. That doesn't happen, and you're often just being given what you get through your insurance, massive limitations on the types of medical services that you can receive.
Right.
This is a non-market. It's not a free market in healthcare. We do have, to an extent, when we start to look at the cash-only clinics, we start to look at different ways to pay for healthcare. We see a different thing going on. As I mentioned, plastic surgery, LASIK eye surgery is another good example. Or people that just don't take insurance and have to find an option for paying for medical services. When they get out there, they can buy medical services, but it takes a bit of stewardship. And there's a responsibility on the consumer at that point. It's not just that the system itself is against the little guy, although in a way in the film we talk about how it is stacked against very often the person without insurance.
Right.
Well, there are things that we can do, and we talk about that in the film. That there's a method to finding medical services, negotiating prices. I'll give you a good example quickly. We pay cash for our medical services. Instead of going to a hospital for our last birth with little Theodore, if we went to a hospital, it probably cost us about $7,000 to $10,000. We had a home birth.
Wow.
It was a couple of $1,000s for the midwife. We bought all of the medical supplies on Amazon. So we're paying a fraction of what you're paying in a hospital. Of course, the hospitals are the biggest culprit. That's when it gets really expensive. They bring you the $5 aspirin and the $5
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that.
Walk,
totally.
So
all right.
That's when it's expensive.
Colin, what is the charge master?
So the uninsured walk into the hospital and, something happens. They got to go to the hospital. The charge master is a hidden list that they don't reveal to the public, and for good reason, which is kind of crazy. You think of any other example in American culture where you buy something without knowing the price of it. I can't think of anything that, I'm Scottish, so I'm very price aware. So the only time I can think of where I would buy something without knowing the price, and that's the only time I can think of it, was at the end of a meal when you're out with your wife and they come and ask you then, do you want coffee? I'll say, sure. I won't say, well, how much?
How much is
that
it?
coffee? That would be super cheap of me to do that, so I
Right.
don't do that. I've embarrassed my wife. The point is that we don't have any price discernment. So the poorest person goes in and he gets given this charge master price, and it's much more than the insurance company is going to pay, and it's much more than Medicare or Medicaid is going to pay. And what the hospital's doing there is it's trying to leverage its charitable status. These hospitals have this so-called not-for-profit status, and they're trying to exaggerate the amount of charitable care that they do. So eventually they go to the government, and it's now the federal government, saying, hey, look, we gave $150,000 worth of care for free to this indigent. Can you pay for that? And of course the government does, and it's a bit of a scam that's going on. The problem is that $150,000 bill, it goes to someone who doesn't qualify for any medical programs that can ruin them, and we know those stories. But the issue is the healthcare services that they received were nowhere near worth that. In fact, the insurance would have never paid that much, and the government would have never paid that much if it was covered by Medicare and Medicaid. So it's a real crazy situation that the poorest goes into the hospital and ends up with the biggest bill. And there's nothing like that in any other aspect of American culture.
Why is the Medicare price so much cheaper, though? I think you kind of touched on this in the last question, but they artificially inflate the price of procedures. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Medicare prices, Medicaid and Medicare, which was a bad idea to begin with. They're close to socialized medicine. They locked in prices, so they have artificially controlled prices.
Right.
The doctors complain about them. Often you'll hear the doctors complain about them, and I don't know if they're getting a good deal or not. In fact, I think often the Medicare prices are actually closer to true value. They were designed so that you wouldn't get doctors just ratcheting up big bills.
Right.
So there's sort of an established price fixing thing going on there. But the problem is a lot of the hospitals, what they're really doing is cost shifting. So they're not getting enough from the government coffers for the feeding of the poorer people on Medicare and Medicaid. So they're cost shifting from the private insurers and for the private individuals that are coming in and paying cash. And they're not meant to do that, but essentially that's how the hospital system seems to be working, and it is a broken system. The difficulty of having all these people in entitlements is it sort of breaks the market. There's no free market when you have 50% plus people on the government dime already, and it's just a bad system. All of it needs to go away. We need to revolutionize and reform healthcare. Getting rid of Obamacare is not enough. It really was broken before that with all of the socialization over the last years.
But anyway, so this is Johnny Rocket here at the Johnny Rocket Launchpad, launching ideas in your direction, the Northwest's only rock and roll libertarian radio show. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Kurt Nelson.
Yo!
The voice of reason, Miss Heather Nixon.
Yep.
And we are talking to Colin Gunn with his new movie, Wait Till It's Free. And you can check him out at www.colingunn.com and WTIfree.com for his new movie and his website to that. And we're going to be right back. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to listen to Billy's Burns, whatever chaps his ass. And we're going to continue talking to Mr. Gunn. So we'll be right back.